끝난 줄 알았지. 안 끝났어. 안 끝났단 말이야. 알았어?
You slowly walk inside your room, preventing your sleeping son to wake up. You are currently in the video call with your dad. He wants to see your 1-year-old son, Junho. He's okay, Dad. He became more naughty these days and became handsome. And you? How about you? Absolutely okay. Junho, is he starting to ask for his dad? You were left speechless. You didn't think that time would come. Dad, I need to hang up the call, you said, to avoid what your dad might ask. Because until now, you haven't told your parents who your son's father is. You sat on the bed next to your son and gently touched his face. How can I forget you? I see you in your son. You felt guilty toward your son. He's gonna grow up without knowing his father. You grow up in a complete unhappy family. You get all the attention of your parents since you are the only child. You can say that you are a spoiled brat. You don't know that behind the happy face of your parents, they are hiding their sadness and loneliness because they don't love each other. Their marriage is a product of arranged marriage just for business benefits. Although they try to work out their marriage, but in the end, they realize that they have reached their limit. So they decided to get divorced. The first person who got hurt, of course, is you. You think your family is perfect, but one day, that will happen. You are so close to your parents, so you really want them to get back together. But that seems impossible. Still, you want that to happen. So you run away so they will be worried and look for you together. That was 2 years and 7 months ago. You went to Bali to hide there. You live in a resort there. Unfortunately, 2 weeks have passed. It seems they don't worry about you. As you realize that you are already an adult, currently working as a police officer under your dad's supervision since he was a police general. Since you are a spoiled brat, you don't want to lose. So you came up with a stupid plan. What if you die? Maybe they get back together. Dawn, when you went to the sea to drown yourself, you chose that time so no one would see and save you. However, someone saved you. He got mad and cursed you non-stop for doing that. Later on, he calmed down and apologized for the hurtful words he said. He took a towel and put on your shoulder. You two sat on the sand and there he asked you why you wanted to end your life. At that time, you found peace in your mind. For some unknown reasons, you told him everything. He's the one who told you that not all marriages are successful. It's better to divorce than to hurt each other. You realize both your parents endured for several years and did their best so that you could have a good family, but their best wasn't good enough. So they gave up, but they made sure that you first reach adulthood before the divorce. So maybe you understand the situation. But here you are, acting like a little kid. The guy saved you and made you realize something is Jungkook, the owner of the resort where you stayed. He is a good advisor and great companion, so you feel at ease right away with him. He asked you what is your next plan, so you told him instead of killing yourself, why don't you just enjoy your vacation? He felt relieved when you heard that. He even offered himself to be your tour guide while you are in that country. You became friends. hung out together often, went to a beautiful destination. But after 1 week, you need to go back to your country since you no longer have a budget. But he stopped you. He asked you to stay. He will take care of everything. Then he told you that he starts falling in love with you. At those times, you also felt the same. You choose to stay with him. You follow your heart. Living with him was the happiest moment of your life. Every day, he makes you feel how important you are. He cherishes you. 7 months have passed, you are still together, and at that time, something was happening to the both of you. He also started taking care of his documents because he wants to go with you going back to your country to ask your parents' permission to marry you. One night, you wake up without Jungkook by your side. You get up and look for him, but you really can't find him. You leave the resort where you are staying until you hear a gunshot near the beach. Since you are a police officer and general's daughter, you grew up that not afraid for something. So you went to the seaside to find out what's going on. You saw with your two eyes that Jungkook killed someone. In shock, you ran back to the resort while your mind was messed up. Unfortunately, Jungkook saw you and started chasing you. He hugged you trying to calm you down. You push him trying to get out from his grip. However, he hugs you even tighter, and there he told you that he is a mafia boss. Your world collapsed and fell apart because the guy you love is your enemy. You are a police officer and you have a sworn duty, and Jungkook is a mafia who does evil and illegal activities. What will your life be with him? Will you hide forever from his enemies? How will your children be? If you choose him, your dad will become your enemy. So you decided to break up with him because you don't want to hurt each other. You're afraid that a time will come that your dad will kill him, or he can kill your dad, or you would kill him. He asked you over and over again if that was your final decision. And when you told him yes, he set you free open arms, not because he doesn't love you, but because he respects the decision of the girl he loves. You separated properly without blaming and resentment. After that, you return to your country. It hurts, but that's the best way you can think of. 2 months later, you found out that you are pregnant. You found out too late because there were no signs of your pregnancy. You felt happy with mixed with fear at that time. You know you could raise your child alone because your dad taught you to be strong. However, how will you tell your son in the future where his dad is? Your parents also give that question, but until now, you are not answering them. You gave birth to a boy. As he grows up, he is looking more like his dad. How many times did you feel regret for leaving him because you still love him? He's still communicating with you, but you prefer not to answer him in fear that he will find out about his son. What if he's going to take your son from you? You get out of your room after seeing the time. You need to get ready before the cab comes to pick you up. You're going to a bridal party at the same time bachelor party of your friends. In 3 days, they're getting married. You need to be there since you are her maid of honor. You choose not to bring your car in case you got drunk. You arrive at the party but ate at night. There were quite a lot of people and they were enjoying themselves. YM, prepare yourself later, Kimberly said. "Oh, why?" She didn't reply. She just laughed. Later on, Roxanne came and whispered something to you. "That crazy hired a guy stripper." What? Won't Vince be angry? It's impossible for him not to find out. The bachelor party is just in the other room. That couple went crazy. Vince also hired a girl stripper for the boys. You just shook from what you heard. You and your other girlfriends were sitting in a long sofa while drinking some wine when Vince came. He approached Kimberly and hugged his future wife. You all start teasing the two to get room until Vince calls someone to come closer so he will introduce him to you all. Girls, cover your mouth. Your saliva might drip of his hotness. He is a billionaire from Europe. He is only came here to attend our wedding. All the girls except you are looking at the man coming. Except you, cause you're taking some lemon off the table for tequila. Girls, this is my friend Jungkook. Your stand as you look up after hearing that name. You really got shocked. After 2 years, you and Jungkook meet again. Jungkook wasn't surprised. It seems he was expecting you to meet you there. He looked down and his eyes were just focusing on you. Long time no see, YN. The girls looked to the both of you and asked, You know each other? Oh, we met in Bali. Nice to meet you again, Ko. He furrowed his brows and his face showed disappointment to your answer. Vince introduced Jungkook to the other girls while you were quiet in one side. Later on, they returned to the other room because, according to Vince, their main event was about to begin. Kim, how did Vince meet Jungkook? In business. Illegal business? That's absurd. Absolutely not. I thought you know Jungkook. Don't you know he owns a lot of hotels in Europe? I'm sorry. It's been a while since we've seen each other. YN, are you close? Can you introduce me to him? I think I like him. Your blood suddenly boiled when you heard what Camille said. You had no chance to answer Camille because all of you got curious after the other guests started screaming when the girl stripper suddenly came out of the big box and danced with the boys one by one until she came to Jungkook. Your heart pounding so fast when you saw the stripper touch him. You didn't notice that your eyes were tearing up while looking at him. Jungkook suddenly gazed at you. You quickly look in another direction because you don't want to be caught. You is staring at him. I don't want to be rude, but please, leave me alone, he whispered to the stripper, who immediately walked away from him. Later on, Kimberly screams to get ready as she opens the box in the middle and the guy with a big body just wearing an underwear came out. He came to the girls one by one and started dancing in front of them. You thought he won't approach you since you are in the corner. However, he still came and started waving his body that makes you uncomfortable, especially when you saw him went on your back. You really want to kick him, but you also don't want to ruin your friend's party. The guy stripper was about to hold you until Jungkook blacked his hand and said, Can't you see? She's uncomfortable with what you're doing. The guy apologized to you. After that, he went to another girl that came to flirt with him. You don't need to do that. I'm okay. Obviously, you're not okay. Did you notice that? By the way, thank you. Next time, don't act that you are okay in front of me, even though you are not okay, he said and went back to the boys. Since I left you, I never be okay again. You need to go home. You still have work tomorrow. You also miss your son. You bid goodbye to Kim. You purposely did not say goodbye to Vince because of Jungkook. You went downstairs and about to book a cab when you saw Camille hugging a Jungkook near the exit. You felt devastated. So even though it's raining heavily outside, you just went out because you can't handle seeing them. You ran outside. You don't care if you get wet from the rain. Because of the pain you feel. Stop it, YN. Stop it. But still, your tears continue dripping. Then someone called you. There you saw Jungkook holding an umbrella. I'm just helping her because she felt busy. What are you talking about? Don't get me wrong. I ran because I wanted to go home, and since I didn't have an umbrella, so I just ran. Is that really your only reason? Absolutely, yes. We're done 2 years ago, remember? What if until now, I still love you? You really want to tell him that you still love him and you have a child, but fear dominates your heart. So instead of telling him that, you just told him that you already moved on from him. Okay, I understand. You are drunk. Let me send you home. No, I can manage myself. Then let me call you a taxi. Mrs. Lee, the nanny of your son, helped you to get inside your room because you are very drunk. After Jungkook called a taxi for you, you stopped somewhere and there you drank more alcohol until you were drunk. What's wrong? Why did you drink until you can't handle? Nothing, Mrs. Lee. Nothing. Your dad came here earlier. He called you but you didn't answer his call. Really? I don't know he called me. You took your phone from your bag and checked your phone. Call me if you're home, your dad texted. Shh. I'm old enough, Dad! You yelled on your phone. You stand next to your son and take a selfie. After that, you send it to him. But unfortunately, you sent to other person. You send it to Jungkook. Meanwhile, Jungkook drank the whiskey that was in the glass. But when he remembered what you told him earlier about you already moved on from him, he cried and threw the glass. Later on, his phone received a notification. He thought it was business, so he checked in an instant. As he was surprised when he saw your picture, he wondered, who is the cute baby sleeping beside you? He dialed your number hoping this time you will answer his call. Thinking it is your dad, you answered the call without looking who it was. I'm sorry, Appa. I didn't hear your call. After he heard saying Appa, Jungkook realized that you sent a picture by mistake, even answered his call by a mistake also. But since he wanted to hear your voice, he chose to just listen to you. Appa, my son is handsome, right? Jungkook's jaw dropped when he found out that the baby is your son. He was even more shocked on what he found out next. Junho looked like his dad. Appa, I saw him earlier. I met the father of my son earlier. Appa, what I'm going to do? I still love Jungkook but afraid to tell him the truth. Appa, I'm sorry. The father of my son is a mafia. He got speechless at what he heard. This time he won't allow himself to lose you again, especially now that you two already had a son. The next day you woke up with headache. You get up with messy hair and went to the kitchen to drink water because your throat was dry. When you came to the kitchen, you saw Mrs. Lee doing something. Mrs. Lee, is my dad came here last night? I don't know if it was just my dream or what. Someone carried me and took me to the bathroom. Yeah, I think. Mrs. Lee didn't answer until you remember your son. Wait, where's Junho? You look around and saw your dad and Jungkook. He was sitting next to your dad while holding your son. You will stand for a second and laugh. Mrs. Lee, I am dreaming, right? Your dad stood up and hit your head. You're not dreaming. So this guy is your son's father. What the freak? What happened? Then Jungkook told you everything. After you found out the truth, he asked your address to Kim. You invited him inside your house. Jungkook proposed to you, but you told him you would agree to marry him if your dad allows or accepts him. Since you are sure that your dad was going to kill him for being a mafia and enemy. You call your dad in the middle of his sleeps, as he hurriedly came after telling him that your son's father was at your house. At first, your dad hates Jungkook. However, he changed his mind because Jungkook is no longer a mafia now. After you left him, he changed just to be with you. He became a businessman and owns a lot of hotels in Europe. I don't want my child to grow up without a father YN. So by next month, you two should get married. What? I just got drunk last night. Then now when I woke up, I am suddenly getting married? Then will you choose to marry Jungkook or I won't accept him? I'm just kidding, Appa. Of course, I will marry him as soon as possible. Your dad is so scary. I know. He's a general. Oh, wait, so you are the one who carried me last night going to the bathroom? Oh, your clothes are so wet from the rain. Then don't tell me you are also the one who changed my clothes? He nodded. What? And what's wrong? He already saw it. Remember, you live in Bali together for 7 months without me knowing. Stop arguing with your dad. That's my boy. Since you two are getting married soon, you can have another baby. Let's go, Junho. Let's leave them alone. As he took his grandson from Jungkook.